Okay, here is my review and comparison of the NBE 01 oversized knockoff Bonecrusher. You got the oversized knockoff over here, probably made by Black Mamba, nobody really knows. And then the official MPM-14 Bonecrusher on the right. Um, Personal opinion, I actually think that they did a really good job with the knockoff. It's a more solid feeling figure, not just because it's bigger and therefore has more heft, but the ratchets and joints are tighter. It just feels like it's got a little bit thicker, better quality plastic. But I'll cover some specifics and stuff. I got the fire on all of them. They did make some changes. The cargo racks that are on the original NPM are actually folded up into the back, which I'll show in a minute. What would have been, or what is a cavity in the back of the NPM, has those in the back of this one. Because of that, the fire of this arm, which is designed to attach to the rack, doesn't really attach on this one as easily. I kind of just took the little section here that's supposed to go on the cargo rack and I just put it on the edge of the arm right there. So it's not the greatest thing, but it works. The fire is definitely different, not just in size, but the original one is a little shinier, a little more transparent, and has a little bit more color depth to it. So there's that. So, and they are a bit of a pain to put on this one. Well, actually they're a pain on both of them, but especially on the new one. Specifically, get off of there. That one up there took me several minutes to get it in place. It just did not want to peg into the slot. So we get these out of the way. All right. As far as a direct side-by-side comparison, they also put upgraded fingers onto the oversized knockoff. I have an upgrade set of hands on, or fingers on this one, so I can't show the specific ones. But the original, they're just solid in place. These don't bend at all. I actually got these off of eBay. They're 3D printed upgrades. And I was pretty happy with the articulation they added. That just comes inherent on this one. The hands, the back of the hands look a little different. They're flatter on the original than they are on this. There's a little bit more detail. I figuring that that's probably because they moved the cargo rack. This actually lines up with the cargo rack on this one, and since it's not on here, they rounded it off so it looks a little better. For the most part, they look about the same. I'm pretty sure this crotch piece on the NPM is die cast, whereas it feels like it's plastic on the knockoff. I think these two pieces here are also die cast on this one, and I know these two are, and those are all plastic on this. So as far as I can tell, there is no die cast on the knockoff, even though it does feel heftier and more solid to me. They come with the same, eyeball hanging face on them. The knockoff has LEDs in there, which I need to put better batteries in. Speaking of the batteries for that, the ones that were in there were 377, which is also LR626, which is also AG4. It takes two of them. The ones that were originally in it on mine were actually kind of glued into each other. It took an extreme amount of effort to get them out, and I actually destroyed one of the batteries just prying them out. But when I put in the replacements, which I didn't put in new ones, I put in ones that I thought were good, they just slid right in. Wasn't a real big deal. Another little comparison. On my copy anyway of the official NPM, These back panels never want to stay in place. They're constantly falling back like that. Whereas this one, they're nice and tight. Let's see what else. Most everything is more or less the same. Oh, there's color differences. The hinges at the elbow are black on the official. They're tan on the new one. The same thing with up here on the articulated arm, which on here looks more natural, but looks a little off in the elbow, but you know, whatever. The silver paint's pretty similar. The overall paint job is slightly different between the two of them. They put a little bit more weathering on the shoulders of the knockoff, and it's identical patterns, just mirrored. So, you know, he's got exactly the same dirt patterns, just mirrored on each shoulder. So take that as you will. They dirtied up the, I guess these are like radar sensors or something, I don't know. Let's turn them around. So, get his foot down. Whoa, let's not knock that over. And if I lift this up, you can see this giant cavity in the back of the official one, whereas this is where they put the cargo racks on the knockoff. I think it actually works better because it gives them more of a filled-in overall appearance. Slight differences on the colors of the emblem. It's a little more washed out on the official. There's a little bit more vibrancy on the knockoff. That's about all the real differences that I can point out off the top of my head. I did do a little bit of tweaking on mine. The front toes on my, let me get the official out of the way. So when I got this guy, his front toes were actually swapped. So this whole toe right here, they were backwards, which meant that I wasn't able to turn the wheel. But all I had to take out was a couple screws. I think it was this one and this one back here. And then the whole side came off and I was able to just swap the toes and then it worked perfectly fine. I also, it's supposed to actually be, these wrist pieces are supposed to be folded up. Fold like that. But I didn't like having that big gaping hole. So I actually cut off the little plastic tab that prevented it from going all the way back. And I keep mine folded like that. And I did the same thing over here. I cut off this tab and that way I can fold it back. And even though it does hit the back part of that ladder, it's still far enough back that it doesn't bother me. It looks perfectly fine. So those are the little modifications that I made, other than putting a Decepticon symbol on them. Mine actually came with a very tiny brake on it. It's what I assume to be a periscope. A little piece sheared off here, so I've got a ticket in with Shozy Store on that. Overall, I'm extremely pleased with this figure. It's got all the good things about the official and some improvements on it. So I'm very happy with how it's turned out. I'm going to do some size comparisons. I have most of my MPM collection are knockoffs. All the larger bots are all oversized. I do not have the 07 Megatron because I don't like the 07 Megatron. I do have the Dark of the Moon version of them, so that will be the one I'll be putting up. Oh, you know what? Let me do the measurements real quick. So we'll say to the top of his head is about 26 centimeters. To the top of the arm is 36, and to the top of the teeth of the articulated arm in the back is 38 centimeters. So that is the height. We're going to do some comparisons. So on the right we have the official what number is he? MPM-14 Blackout, my personal favorite. On the left there is my oversized knockoff. It's Black Mamba's LS03P Dark Commander Nemesis Prime. Of course mine's broken. I'm missing a door over here. But so that is an oversized. This is a regular size until hopefully they make an oversized of him. So let me get these two out and we'll put up a couple others. Going all Dark of the Moon here. So, wow, yeah. So, for the Dark of the Moon, you've got the original Venerable, what is it, OV01SP Sentinel Prime from Black Mamba. And then you've got the DP01 Desperado Megatron, both for Dark of the Moon. Obviously, very, very large bots. Get these off here. The 07 cast, we've got Ironhide, Ratchets, my Bumblebee, Jazz, Barricade. Every one of these is a knockoff. So we've got on the far left there, we got M06 Ironhide by Wei Zhang / Black Apple. Over here we've got the that's an oversized knockoff from the Masterpiece. Oversized knockoff of Ratchet, T11 Rescuer from Black Mamba. We've got these three are regular size, they were not oversized. So we got LS18 Jazz from AOI Mech Black Mamba. We've got Legendary Toys WW01V Wasp Bumblebee. We've got LS02 Bottleneck from AOI Mech Black Mamba. And then I've got two more. All right. So we have LS04 Star Adjutant from Black Mamba Starscream, and the no brand, probably Black Mamba, 1-to-1 knockoff of the MPM-14 Brawl, known as Tank Brawl, who is just gotten pre-order for an oversized for him, which I'm definitely going to get. So that's going to be very different. But there is the size comparisons to that. I will transform all of these and then do size comparisons with all of them, except I'm not going to do Starscream and Blackout because they're aircraft, they don't matter. But all the ground vehicles, I will do a comparison with the oversize of Bonecrusher there. Alright, I transformed all of them, and now here's comparisons in alt modes. You got official NPM on the right, you got the oversize on the left. I went ahead and put my own little personal touch for Decepticon symbols on them. There's a little bit more weathering paint in like the grills. There's more weathering on the tires. Of course, the NPM, it's got the All Hail Megatron with the Decepticon symbols on the tires. But the official feels flimsier. I still have trouble with this arm, even though I actually took apart the joints in it and made it so that it's stiffer than it was. It used to be where it would just be like that all the time. It's better than it was, and it's still not that great. The joints on the oversize are much stiffer, much more they have more of a solid click to them in the ratcheting. They feel like more like stiffer plastic, whereas this feels like it's like really soft plastic, and you can barely even hear it like clicking. Well, there we go, taking the arm off. But you can barely hear it even doing the clicking. There's not a whole lot different between them vehicle-wise other than size, really. Of course, the cargo rack's going to be different because of the way that they changed it. So it's a separate piece on here, whereas this one is part of the arm, but it still looks more or less the same. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty much exactly the same except for what you would expect. So that's the... Alright, now I'm going to put them up against the rest of the cast. Guess I can only do a couple at a time, but there we go against Ironhide and Nemesis / Optimus Prime, which looks far more like what it's supposed to be for the real vehicle, in my opinion, than with the official. Just to compare that, that would be the official. So that is those. You got Brawl and Ratchet. Of course, when I get the oversized knockoff of Brawl, that'll be a drastic difference between them. We got Barricade, Bumblebee, and Jazz. Dark of the Moon, Sentinel Prime. Okay, that's not one to stay up. And Dark of the Moon, Megatron. I'm going to do some side ones. I'm not going to bother with Sentinel or Megatron just because of how huge they are, but there's a side by side with my Nemesis. Ironhide. Ratchet. Brawl. Barricade. Bumblebee. And Jazz. And I think that'll about wrap it up for this.